Hi everyone. Today we're looking at a chapter book, and the chapter book we're looking at is The Hodgeheg. The chapter book is a little bit longer than a picture book. They can range from, this is quite a short one, they can range from 100 or 2 pages right up to thousands of pages. Like I say, this is quite a short one. It's by Dick King Smith, who wrote a lot of books about animals, different animals. He was a teacher, actually, and then he became a famous author later in his life. We're going to read this one today. I'm not going to tell you the task until the very end of the video, because what I want you to do is just enjoy and listen to chapter 1 to begin with. At the end of the video, I will reveal your task, go back to the start of the video, listen again, but this time with your task in mind. Okay, here we go. The Hodgeheg by Dick King Smith. Chapter 1. "Your Aunt Betty has copped it," said Pa Hedgehog to Ma. "Oh, no!" cried Ma. "Where?" "Just down the road, opposite the newsagent's. Bad place to cross, that." "Everywhere's a bad place to cross nowadays," said Ma. "The traffic's dreadful. Do you realise, Pa, that's the 3rd this year? And all on my side of the family, too. First there was grandfather, then my second cousin, once removed, and now poor Auntie Betty." They were sitting in a flower bed at their home, the garden of number 5A of a row of semi-detached houses in a suburban street. On the other side of the road was a park, very popular with local hedgehogs on account of the good hunting it offered. There's a picture of them sitting in the flower bed. As well as worms and slugs and snails, which they could find in their own gardens. There were special attractions in the park. Mice lived under the bandstand, feasting on the crumbs dropped from listeners' sandwiches. Frogs dwelt in the lily pond, and in the ornamental gardens, grass snakes slithered through the shrubbery. All these creatures were regarded as great delicacies by the hedgehogs, and they could never resist the occasional night's sport in the park. But to reach it, they had to cross the busy road. "Poor Aunt Betty," said Ma again. "It's a hard life, and that's flat." "It's a hard death," said Pa sourly. "And that's flat too." Talk about squashed. The poor girl was... "Shh!" said Ma at the sound of approaching footsteps. "Not in front of the children." As up trotted 4 small figures, exact miniatures of their parents, except that their spines were still greyish rather than brown. 3 of them were little sows, named by Ma, who was fond of flowers: peony, pansy, and petunia. Pa had agreed reluctantly to these names, but he had insisted upon his own choice for the 4th, a little boar. Boys, he said, needed noble-sounding names, and the 4th youngster was therefore called Victor Maximilian St. George, or Max for short. Almost from the moment his eyes had opened, whilst... Oh, sorry, I didn't show you a picture. There's a little picture there. There's the 4 hedgehogs, 4 girls and 1 boy. While his prickles were still soft and rubbery, Max had shown promise of being a bright boy, and by now his eyes, his ears, and his wits were as sharp as his spines. "What are you talking about, Ma?" he said. "Nothing," said Ma hastily. "You wouldn't be talking about nothing," said Max. or there wouldn't be any point in talking. Don't be cheeky, said Pa, and mind your own business. Well, I suppose it is their business really, Pa, isn't it? Said Ma. Or soon will be. They're bound to go exploring outside our garden before long, and we must warn them. You're right, said Pa. Now then, you kids, just you listen to me. And he proceeded to give his children a long lecture about the problems of road safety for hedgehogs. Max listened carefully. Then he said, Do humans cross the road? I suppose so, said Pa. But they don't get killed. Don't think so, said Pa. Never seen one lying in the road. Which I would have if they did. Well then, said Max, how do they get across safely? You tell me, son. You tell me, said Pa. I will, said Max. I will. And that's the end of chapter 1. Next time we will read chapter 2. Now we're going to do a couple of pieces of work from this book. One of them is we are going to put together a road safety poster. We're going to look at how to be safe in the road. That's not the focus for today, though. We wrote a mini book review not very long ago for a short story. This is a longer story, and so we're going to write a full book review. To do that, you need to keep note of what has happened in each chapter. So after I've read each chapter to you, what you're going to need to do is go right back to the start of the video, and as I read through, you need to take notes about what's happened in each chapter. So that first chapter that I just read, go back, listen again, and then make about 5 sentences telling me what happened. Just notes, not long sentences, just a few words. This happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. Finally, this happened. When you've done that, save it. Next time we'll read chapter 2, and you will be doing the same task, so that over time we build up notes about the whole story. They will be very important because they'll be used as a reminder for when you write your book review, especially when we do the summary section, because you're going to need to summarize this whole story, so you need to remember the key events. Go back to the start of the video now, if you haven't already done that, of course, and take notes. As I read through the book, what happens? Tell me what's happening. What have you found out? Who's the characters, etc. Notes about the chapter. As much as you can write, but keep it short at 5 sentences. Give it a go. And as ever, happy learning.